right. If you're watching this video, then you want to find out what high ticket sales is, and you want to find out if it's the right move for you. In this video, we're obviously covering what even is sales, because some of you might need a refresher or even to get a base knowledge of sales in general. Obviously, we're covering what is high ticket sales. We're going to cover the difference between the two main positions in high ticket sales, which is setter and closer. And then we're also going to be covering who are we selling to and what are we selling. On top of that, we're going to cover how sales calls actually work. Most importantly, we're going to talk about why this skill matters so much, not just in terms of making money, but in terms of dramatically improving your quality of life. So let's get into it. First things first here, what even is sales? So sales is essentially helping someone make a decision that they already want to make. Think about it now. You're actually already in sales to a certain degree. A job interview, you're selling yourself. Convincing your friend to pick a restaurant, sales. Convincing someone that their point may be a little bit incorrect and your point maybe is the better option, sales. Building relationships, making friends, connecting with your loved ones, finding yourself a girlfriend, finding yourself a boyfriend, whatever it might be. It's all sales. And notice when you think about all of the topics that I just brought up, it's not about being pushy in any of those scenarios. And that's the exact same reality when it comes to actual sales. It's about asking questions and solving problems. And this is the big misconception. So many people don't understand this. They hear sales and they think, oh, manipulation, tricking, wordplay, and silver tongue, and all these things that just aren't true. And I'm not totally sure where that comes from, but it really is a big problem because so many people are just massively misinformed when it comes to sales. The simple equation is people buy when what they get is greater than what it costs them, okay? And that could be time, money, energy. It really doesn't matter because there's always going to be a cost. Whether it's a program, whether it's a service, whether it's an item, it's going to cost money. But if what they're receiving is better, it's greater, it's more valuable than the actual price point of what it's going to cost them, that's when they do it. This is where all of the psychology in human decision making actually comes into play, because even if somebody wants something, even if somebody knows that they need something, it's really difficult for them to pull the trigger. And it's just because humans are innately reluctant to just do things. They're scared of change. We all are. It's very, very normal. How do you get someone to actually make the decision that's going to dramatically improve their life? You have to showcase the value. That comes in a lot of different ways. Do you just give a big presentation and tell them all the reasons why your thing is good? I'm sure a lot of you watching probably say, yeah, that sounds great. Well, not exactly, because people don't want to be told what decisions they need to make. They actually want to be helped and guided to then have that thought process on their own so that they end up making the decision themselves. But the reality is they would have never made that decision themselves because their mind is clouded with all sorts of things: fear, worry, rejection, cost of inaction, whatever it might be. It's all clouded up, and your job as the sales rep is to ask them the right questions, to prompt the correct thought process that gets them in the buying pocket. It gets them in a state where they're starting to realize, oh, yeah, I'm stuck in this position and I'm not going to get a solution unless I do X, Y, Z. And the only way to do X, Y, Z is to get A, B, C. And oh, this guy's selling A, B, C, right? It's a process, okay? So sales, it's not pushy. It's not manipulation. It's helping someone make a decision that they already want to make because they're on the call for a reason. They already went through, they already booked it. They know what this is. And if they didn't inherently want it, they wouldn't be here. The next point to cover is what exactly is high ticket sales? Now, I'm sure so many of you have heard of high ticket sales and you're watching my video. I'm sure you've seen my profile, right? And many others where people talk about high ticket sales and you're under the assumption that, okay, high ticket, right? Expensive. Okay. So you're getting there. Now, what high ticket sales actually is selling premium things. okay? Whether it's services, could be products, it could be coaching programs, courses, it could be anything. And typically that price range is always going to fall between $3,000 and upwards of $15,000, sometimes as high as $100,000, right? But typical price point is going to be about $3 to $15K. That's going to be over the phone or on a Zoom or Google Meets video call. And this can be for an individual or it could be for a company. So for example, an individual would be, I need a fitness program. A business would be, I need a done-for-you service to run my advertisements because I don't know how to use Meta. Very, very simple stuff. If you go on Instagram and you take a look, they are all over the place. The way that it works is one conversation, one decision, and it usually takes about 45 to 60 minutes at most. It's really simple. And the reason that it pays so well is because you get 10% commission. So let's say you sell a $5,000 program. On this $5,000 program, that means you'll get $500 straight direct deposit per deal. Let's do the math. Close 20 deals a month, there's your 10K. It's not difficult to have success in this industry because the amount of leads coming in that are all provided to you, keep in mind, is overwhelming. Understand that you're not selling a product, you're selling a transformation. And that's why this is an emotional sale, because the person on the call is looking for something. They want to make more money. They want to lose weight. They want to land a career path. They want to upgrade their business. Whatever it might be, they are emotionally tied to it. So they don't really care about the features and benefits of the service that you provide. All they want to know is, will this solve my problem? Will this get me the result? And chances are they've probably been struggling with it for a while. So if you ask the right questions and you can get them in the correct emotional state, the buying pocket, to be able to see the path clearly, it's going to be a complete layup for you. And that's why high ticket is so fun. It's wonderful. I mean, you talk to people, you solve their problems, and some of the results that people get after purchasing, your product, your service is absolutely tremendous. I mean, you're really making an impact while you're making some serious money in the process. All right, the difference between a setter and a closer. This is important. So there's two main positions. First, let's cover the setter. So the setter is technically the appointment maker, right? They're going to talk to the leads in the DMs, or they're going to get them through a list that comes in a CRM, which if you don't know a CRM, it's a way that companies track all the leads that they're generating, right? And then you would talk to them on a phone call. All you need to do is qualify them. And that just means, is this person a fit? Do they fit the qualities that we're looking for? Do they understand what we're selling? Would this actually help them? What's their current situation? What are they looking to accomplish in the future? Simple stuff, right? You're just looking to help the person. Then you're going to book them onto a call with the closer. This is an entry-level role, and you get a slightly lower pay percentage per deal. Typically, it's around 5%, but when you do the math, you only spend about 15 minutes per person. The closer spends 45 to 60 minutes. So you're able to talk to way more people on a day-to-day basis. So yes, you make slightly less money, but you can actually make a very similar amount if you're doing a lot of volume. The closer, this is the deal maker. They're going to take that 45 to 60 minute Zoom call. They're going to ask the right questions. They're going to find the gap, and then they're going to present the offer. After that, you handle some objections, you collect payment, and you're good to go. This is a higher skill set, which means higher commission. So like I said, the closer is typically going to take 10% of that deal. And it's because they're the one actually collecting payment. They're the one getting down to business and really making the deal happen. The process here is going to be the lead comes in, whether it's through organic, through Instagram, or it's through an advertisement through Instagram, which is paid marketing. Doesn't matter. The lead comes in, they speak with the setter, they get booked in for a call. Then they speak with the closer. Closer closes the deal. Now that lead has turned into a paying client. So in high ticket sales, who are we selling to and what exactly are we selling, right? So these are all warm leads, okay? These people saw the content. They know exactly what the offer is. They clicked on the ad and they booked the call themselves. Nobody is cold calling strangers here. Nobody is bothering people, doing anything illegal with the phones, pestering people. None of that. These are all warm leads that are excited to speak with you because they're excited about the opportunity because they initiated all of the contact. And the best part is the company is going to pay for the ads. You don't pay for any of the ads. You don't worry about any of that. You just take the call. Free leads, warm leads, I mean, it's a salesperson's dream. Whether you're looking to break into sales now and you want to just start and high ticket sales is going to be your first route, or you're a current sales rep, maybe you're in auto sales, maybe in tech sales, you know that free warm leads, that is the salesperson's dream. What you're selling, that's going to be whatever niche you pick. And high ticket sales has just been dramatically expanding. And keep in mind that we are still very much in the early stages of things here. This covers fitness, finance, business, real estate. I mean, you can sell anything. What I like to tell people is sell what you actually care about. Now, you're not the offer owner. You don't have to be the resident expert. You're not in fulfillment. But when you have passion behind what you sell and you have conviction in what you're selling, that is by far what closes deals further along than any skill set that I could possibly teach you. So now we're going to cover how a sales call actually works. And this is where everybody gets it wrong. The ratios here are way different than you might expect. The intro, it's quick, about 10%, right? Quick, direct. Why are we here together, right? Basic pleasantries. Always remember that people buy from people that they like and trust. So just jumping into some crazy sales frame that you saw some guru do online, I promise you that's not going to work. You have to be a normal human being. Ask the person how their day is going. Ask them, how they are. Make sure you call them by their name, right? Basic human pleasantries. I've always done it. There's gurus online that'll tell you to jump into this crazy frame. Don't listen to those guys. That's all bullshit, okay? You treat people with respect. You treat them like people, right? The discovery phase. Now, this is 80% of the entire call. This is where the sale actually happens, not the close. In the discovery is where the sale is made. This is where you ask questions, right? Where are they right now? Where do they want to be? What happens if nothing changes? This is where you challenge their limiting beliefs and you expose what's been keeping them stuck. If you don't do this in discovery, if you don't dig and really get to know the person and understand that, their problems are not going away, right? Figure out what their situation is, what their problems are, and how you can best help them. If you don't do that, you're never going to make a sale, right? But if you do a great job here, you're going to find yourself closing people with no objections. And it's because the sale happens in the discovery, right? And that's why we put so much emphasis on teaching the discovery inside of Rewire Elite Performance. The last part of the call is the close. Now, that's 10%. You show the offer, you say the price, and then you handle objections if need be. A lot of people think that it's, this big presentation, this big pitch. No, that's not how that works. Not at all. It's all done in the discovery because it is conversational sales. People want to be treated like people. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. They want to feel valued. Very simple, very, very human. So this probably is breaking a lot of limiting beliefs that you previously had about sales. And that's a good thing because finally someone's telling the truth. Someone is explaining to you how this whole thing works. And chances are you could probably see yourself having success in it now that you know it's not any of that weird scummy stuff that you probably thought it was. Most importantly, why does this skill matter? It's 100% remote. You completely choose your own hours and you get to work 100% remote. You're not responsible for any commute. You're not responsible for showing up to work on time and all of this nonsense that people try to pretend matters. It doesn't. You choose your own hours and you have uncapped commission. There is no salary ceiling here. So it's not, oh, I got this job, and even if I make all my sales, say you're in a sales job that still has a salary, you're going to be stuck making about $100,000 a year at most. You're never going to make more than that. In this industry, I was on pace to do well over $700,000 in my first couple months, right? And then I ended up finishing doing well over $650,000 in my first year. The reality is you don't need a degree. You don't need a license. There's no startup costs, none of that stuff. You don't need any of it. You need proper training, right? You need a skill set and you need a belief in yourself that something like this could work for you. This is why it's an important life skill because this skill transfers everywhere. I mean, sales is communication and communication is life. Negotiation, interviews, starting a business after the fact, which is the path that I took. The opportunities are limitless once you learn sales. Here's the reality. This is every interaction. I don't care what anybody has to say. You're either selling or you're being sold. So you might as well get good at selling. You could have had a lot of different outcomes in your life if you knew how to communicate and advocate for yourself better. That's what this skill is going to teach you to do. So not only is it going to create, 100% remote opportunity where you choose your own hours, you have uncapped commission, you have no salary ceiling, you don't need a degree, a license, there's no startup costs, right? None of that stuff. But it's also going to dramatically improve your personal life because of the soft skills that you're going to learn from getting really good at sales. Hopefully this covered everything for you. I know there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of confusing things out there. So I wanted to make a really short and simple video that breaks down exactly what high ticket sales is on a basic level so that someone like yourself watching who's interested in getting started and doesn't want to get overwhelmed with frameworks and psychology, not just yet anyways, can get a basic understanding of what the industry actually looks like. We run a wonderful program that takes beginners from A to Z. So that means full training, right? Everything that you need from coursework to live training. And most importantly, we then take you through the placement of landing a job opportunity. Okay, we provide employment coaching so you can do interviews. We provide 200 plus new opportunities for you to apply to every single week. It is an A to Z program for complete beginners. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful, and I'll see you on the next video.